How do you think the government's handling it?
You're right. I mean, my mum registered as a nurse 60 years ago and has been a nurse on hospital wards, has been a community nurse, has been a health visitor. She was community editor of Nursing Times magazine, so she was even in nursing every week when she volunteers. But we see what nurses are going through every day. And the fact of the matter is the government has got to sit down and talk with the union leaders about pay, because the nurses have been underpaid for far too long. And their point is that it's got to a point where it's unsafe. We need nurses to feel valued, and we need nurses who are going to continue doing the job. So we need to retain nurses and we need to recruit nurses as well. And unless the government gives a little bit of way on this, we're not going to come to a deal which is going to satisfy the nurses. And keep the interview you just did with Oliver Dowden, where he insisted the government is not going to move an inch over this. And, you know, when you think about the fact that when you ask people what makes them proud to be British, the NHS and the Queen are the two things which people kept saying. We've lost the Queen, and look at the state of the NHS. We spent 2 years clapping for nurses and other NHS workers, and now we won't give them what they're asking for. And I'm not between a son and his father. I watched the documentary. I just feel like your stance on it depends on what you think. That's terribly distasteful. I think their motivation is that they felt like they just had too much scrutiny, publicity, intrusion, invasion of privacy. And I know people cough and splutter and say, well, you know, she had these terrible thoughts and an enormous sympathy for that. You also know that Harry saw his mother die in the wake of terrible press and hold the tide back.
I mean, what happens?